Hi and welcome to Swedish Plantguys. In this video we talk about how to handle a plant that just arrived to your home, the do's and don'ts. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel for more, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Now let's go. Now tell me if you recognize this scenario. You've been wanting to buy a specific type of plant for a very long time. Now it could be that it's hard to find, it could be that it's quite expensive so you don't have the money to buy it, but now you have. For instance, it could be this Alocasia zebrina, also known as the zebra plant, for instance here. Now you've finally bought it, you're in the store. Now, it could be cold outside, it could be hot outside, but just for the sake of it, we say it's cold outside. So the shop where you buy it is a good shop. They wrap it in paper and then you take it home with you. When you arrive at your home, you walk straight into the kitchen, you unwrap the plant, you take a look at it and you see, it's a little bit of a small pot. I think I'll repot this. So you repot it, you put it in perfect soil, you've researched specifically what type of soil you need for this plant, you repot it, and then you take it and you place it next to the TV where you've dreamt of having this plant. And then you water it. Now 2 weeks later, the plant is not feeling well or it could even be dead. Now there are a lot of no-nos in this scenario. And we'll go through each and every one of them so that this will never happen to you again. Now, first of all, always consider that a new plant arriving to your home is a little bit stressed. Now, the reason is quite simple. You just have to take a look at the journey the plant has taken to arrive to your home. Now, take for instance, this Dracena marginata here. Now, this actually started its journey in the fields of South America, where the stems were grown. Then they were chopped off, loaded on containers and shipped, usually by boat, to Amsterdam. Now in Amsterdam, they go out to the grower in the greenhouse. There they're planted in soil and the foliage starts to grow. Now in the greenhouse, it gets the perfect of everything. Perfect temperature, perfect humidity, watered when it wants to, nutrients, you have everything. Then all of that stops. Because now it's time to go to Sweden. And usually they're loaded on trucks and they go to Sweden and arrive at the local shop. Now at the local shop, it doesn't have all of those perfect conditions. It will probably be placed next to a lot of other plants. It won't get the light it wants, it won't get the humidity it wants, it won't be watered perfectly, it doesn't get any nutrients. So it's quite a rough life for the plant at the shop. Then you arrive, you pick this plant, let's say you want this plant. This is a variety of CC plants that is called Samioculca samifolia sensi. Now it's quite unusual, so you get a hold of this plant and then you take it home. And when you take it home, it could be cold outside, it could be hot outside, it could be a long trip, a small trip. But when it arrives at your house, this plant is probably stressed from all of that. So what should we do to be able to make the transition to your house as good as possible? Number one, if you have a plant that is wrapped in paper, it could look like this. The shop was a good shop, so it wrapped it in paper because it was cold outside. Now, when you get to your house, don't open this wrapping immediately. Just place it somewhere and let it stand there for, let's say, 30 minutes up to an hour before you start to unwrap the plant. Because what happens then is that little microclimate within the paper here will gradually reach the same temperature as outside and around the same humidity. So it doesn't get that rapid transition from good to worse, let's say. Number 2, never ever repot a new plant that arrives at your home, because a repot is extremely stressful for the plant. So we wait to do a repot. Now, we only do that repot if we have to, meaning that if you get a plant to your home that has really poor soil or is extremely wet, or you see that something is wrong with the plant, then perhaps you can do a repot. Otherwise, never do that. Wait at least 2 weeks up to a month before you do anything to that soil. Number 3, always place your new plant in a spot in your house or in your apartment where you have a lot of indirect sunlight a long period of the day. Now, this CC plant here, and as I said before, you might want to have this plant next to the TV so you can enjoy it at the same time as you're watching the TV. But that positioning is probably not the best at first because it's darker placement. This is a plant that can withstand a darker placement, so the spot is not wrong, but when it arrives to your house, place it somewhere where it gets a lot of indirect sunlight for 2 to 4 weeks before you move it to the spot where you actually want it to be. Number 4, always feel the soil of your plant before giving it any water when it just arrived to your home. If it is moist, wet, or even a little bit moist, cold, wait. Wait a day, feel the soil again the next day, and only when it starts to dry up a little bit, then you add water. And this is no matter what type of plant you have. Because if you get a plant to your house and it's extremely wet, and the first thing you do is to give it water, you could actually kill your plant quite rapidly. So feel the soil and make sure that it dries up a little bit. And do this until you've moved your plant to where you actually want it. Then you have to take care of it in that spot instead. Number 5, when you eventually water your plant for the first time, make sure that the excess water, the water that goes through the soil into the bottom of the pot or the bottom of the outer pot here, that you take away that water, because that is the real killer. Most tropical plants do not want to stand in a mixture of soil and water. This will kill your plant. So if you follow these simple steps, every time you get a new plant to your house, you will have a higher success rate and your plants will start to thrive. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps the channel a lot. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do. Hit the bell as well so you get a notification every time we put up something new. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram where you can get sneak previews on upcoming videos and sometimes a little bit more. Now until next time, hej då!